boys and girls, and welcome back. This time we are going to be talking about quarter hour. Now, in review, we talked about the hour hand, and again, the hour hand is the shorter hand. It points to the digits on the clock. The hour is on the clock because it wants to tell you what hour it is. The minute hand's the longer hand. He doesn't care about the hour, so he covers up those digits. He just wants to get around the clock in minutes. And again, there's 5 minutes between each digit on the clock. So I would read this as 1, the hour first, 15 minutes have gone by. Last lesson we talked about half hour. The half hour is half of an hour, half of the clock around, and it was, do you remember how many minutes that was? You're right if you said 30 minutes. Well, now we're going to take the clock and we're going to split it again. This time, we're going to divide this clock into 4 separate pieces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 4 pieces, and we call 4 pieces quarters. And I know we've used quarter before when we were talking about coins. Do you remember how many quarters equal $1? You're right, it was 4. So 4, another name for a 4 is a quarter. So if we look at this quarter on a clock, if we split the clock into 4 quarters, how many minutes would that be in each quarter? Well, here we go. Let's start at our 1 o'clock, and let's go to the first stop, which would be a 3 in our quarter, and see how many minutes would be in that. 5, 10, 15. So there's 15 minutes in the first quarter. Well, we already know, but we can add another quarter and end at the 6, and that would be 20, 25, 30. That would be 30 minutes, and we already knew that from the half an hour. If we go one more quarter up to the 9, 35, 40, 45, it would be 45 minutes. And if we added another quarter, 50, 55, we never say it's 160 because there's 60 minutes. There's 60 minutes in an hour. If we're at 60, we're at the new hour. So it's not 160, it's 2 o'clock. We are at 2 o'clock right now. Now these are quarters. And last time we talked about those busy streets in those busy city and how some people don't have time to tell you exactly the time. And we did the clock talk. Again, if you were on a busy street and this was the time, and you said, "Sir, what time is it?" They may say, it's 2:30. Do you remember that half past? And what that meant was it was half an hour past 2 o'clock or 2:30. Well, this is going to be a tricky lesson because now we're going to do the clock talk with quarters. And that gets really tough because we use the words quarter to or quarter till. Same thing. Till is short for until, or we may say quarter after, or maybe quarter past. This is the clock talk. The clock talk. It's a little tricky when we're looking at those quarters. And again, the quarters are 1/4 of the clock. So let's just try the first quarter. Right now it's 3 o'clock. So if you were on that busy street and you said, "Sir, what time is it?" They may say, "It's 3. They skip the o'clock. But it's faster just to say, "It's 3. And you would understand that it's 3 o'clock. But let's just say it's not 3, it's 3:05, 3:10, 3:15. That's a quarter hour. That's 15 minutes. That's a quarter hour. And on that busy street, that man might say, "It is," if you said, "Sir, what time is it?" They may say, "It's a quarter after." A quarter after 3. That means that it's 15 minutes after 3. They're not going to say 3:15. They'll say a quarter after 3. Now, as we move on the clock, and you're still on that busy street, what are they going to say if it's right here? Sir, what time is it? They're going to say it's, do you remember? Half past 3. Now this tricky part. As we move up one more quarter, we're almost to 4 o'clock. They might say on that busy street when you ask, sir, what time is it? They might say, it's a quarter. They're not going to say after 3 because it's not a quarter after 3. They're going to say it's a quarter to, or maybe they'll say it's a quarter till 4, which means that it's a quarter until or to 4 o'clock. And they would be right. And that's the clock talk. It's a tricky thing. We can practice a little bit again. It's 4 o'clock right now. On those busy streets, they might say it's 4. Not 4 o'clock, it's 4. As we go on to the next first quarter, they might say it's a quarter after 4. And that would mean it's 4:15. It's a quarter hour after 4 o'clock. As we move down the clock, again, they would say this is half past 4 or 4:30. As we keep going around, this is the trickiest one right here. When it's 4:45, that's kind of hard to say. And busy people on the streets, they'll say, it's a quarter to 5. A quarter to the next hour, 5.
There's still some cars pulling in the parking lot. If you don't mind leaving your stuff there a little bit longer, and then I sent everyone an email. If you could check that. Thank you.
So that again would be a quarter to, and then we have to go to the next hour. What's the next hour? What comes after 4? It's 5, of course. A quarter to 5, and then it's 5 o'clock. As we look at your math pages, these are a little tricky today. I think you can do it. We're doing the quarter hour. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. No, sorry guys. Pause it. I had the wrong page on there. Ready? Okay. Now with your page today, we're looking at time to the quarter hour. And again, they have this clock split up into 4 pieces. There's 4 pieces. When you're after the hour, it's called quarter past. When you're almost to the hour, it's quarter to, or sometimes they say quarter till. Now let's look at this first page. Here we have the smaller hand. Again, that's the hour hand, and it's pointing to the 11. So we're going to put the 11 right there. Because it's the 11 o'clock hour. And the minute hand's over here on the 3. So it's going to be 5, 10, 15 when we count by 5s. And the hour would be 11:15. If we were on the busy street, what would they say? They would say, it's a quarter after 11. It's a quarter after 11 o'clock. Here we go with this one. The hour hand's between the 8 and the 9. Whose hour zone is that? You're right if you said 8. It's the 8 o'clock hour still. The minute hand's on the 6, which means I have that memorized. It's a half an hour or 30 minutes. So it's 8:30. If we were on that busy street, we would say it's 8:30. On the next one. Ooh, this is a tricky one. That hour hand looks like it's touching the 7. That's the tricky part. It could fool a lot of second graders. It looks like it's on the 7 o'clock hour, but it's not there yet. It's still in the 6 o'clock zone. It's still in the 6 o'clock hour zone. It's right close to that 7, but not there just yet. It's the 6 o'clock zone. So I'm going to put the 6 right there because it's the 6 o'clock hour. But how many minutes have gone by? A lot of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 45 minutes have gone by. If I want to count a little bit faster, you could say, oh, I remember down at the 6 is 30 minutes, and I could skip count from 30 and go 35, 40, 45. 45 minutes have gone by. If I was on that busy street and it was 6:45, I might just say, it's a quarter to, what's the next hour? 7. I would say it's a quarter to 7 o'clock. Good luck on this lesson.